You have a sword?
My sword, yeah, I have Andoril from Lord of the Rings. 3 times it's been in a photo shoot. I'm like, yeah, like I'm not fucking using it.
Use my sword casually. Hello, welcome to Collage with Khushi. I am here with Nico and Jessi from Eyelet Creative.
My name is Nico. I use he, they pronouns. I'm 23 and I am a founder and co-president of Eyelet Creative, and I specifically have an artistic direction focus.
I'm Jessi. I use she, they pronouns. I am also a co-founder and co-president of Eyelet Creative on the more administrative end of things. Yeah, we both went to UW. We graduated after being part of Mesh, and we just wanted to keep doing that for like a broader Seattle audience.
Awesome. Well, this is all my stuff. So we're gonna get situated first for like a couple minutes, like start something, and then I'll get into like the questions and everything. It's very free form, so like you don't have to be super formal in terms of like speaking, talking.
Cool.
Yeah. I think you're a water sign.
I'm a water sign.
Like you give water sign.
My birthday is in August.
You're a Leo?
Nope. I am a Virgo.
Oh my god.
Okay.
It means you're the most like organized person to ever exist.
Well, you know, it's hard to say that when I'm sitting in the room right next to Jessi May, but you know, I'll.
Jessi, what's your star sign?
I'm an Aries.
You're an Aries? Oh.
Everything about the Aries star sign is just the color red.
Do you fuck with that, or do you like?
It depends on like how you interpret it. I'm not deep into astrology. I don't disagree with all of the concepts of it. I do think that I'm passionate. I do think that I have a lot of like hidden fire or whatever. But also, I do think it's general enough that I'm like, yeah.
That's the problem with astrology. It's like it's so generalized.
But I think, like, I don't know, people, like, I see why people gravitate towards it, you know, like, they find their peace within it. Daily moment of introspection. I think that's pretty cool.
Now that we're warmed up, what's the organization's role within the Seattle creative spaces?
A lot of it was that there weren't a lot of spaces for people who were doing this a little bit more casually. Nobody on, like, Eylet's staff, we're all volunteers, but our staff is pursuing fashion as a career. Super supportive of all the people we know who are. But there's kind of a desire for somewhere to continue just building community.
I think it was just like, honestly, FOMO.
Like, yeah, that's a less glossy way of putting it.
I think, like, I don't know, after Mesh, I felt like a mesh-sized hole in my heart. You know, I really love the community that was built at UW and the people who supported me in such a time where I like really wanted to be supportive. Fun fact, Jessi was the first person I met a part of Mesh. I think after, like, I got, like, serious FOMO, and I was like, man, like, what am I going to do without Mesh? Mesh was such a vital part of, like, my experience here at UW, and also just such a special thing to me because it was, like, building community actively, and that felt really cool. Jessi and I, as well as Aran, our third co-founder, all had the same idea of, like, what if we just brought Mesh to the greater ends of Seattle and had more people who just didn't have to go to school for it.
And how could we also connect like UW as such an insular community, as colleges just are, with the greater Seattle area, which we ourselves were only just stepping into, but we were really excited about that. There's so much more out there than what we had previously been exposed to.
Wait, I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit, but what drew you to performance art first, and then are there any other ways in which you're thinking of combining fashion and like another facet of art?
On a personal level, this event, for context, was separate from Eyelet. Me and a couple other designers wanted to do this, specifically Amy, my partner, shout out. She had this idea of wanting to mix performance and fashion because it felt influential to kind of include and imbue more meaning into collections. When you go and watch a big production runway show that like Mesh puts on pretty much every year, you're seeing like just pieces on pieces that are barreling down the runway, and you're not taking your time to think about what they mean. Or like we just worry that like that got lost. And so I think because of that, we've been really wanting to reconnect with this idea that fashion is art. It's not just, you know, a way of being able to like look cool. It's like a form of expression, and design is a form of expression in that same way, where all really care about our collections and we all want to imbue so much meaning into them. But at the same time, like we want to make sure that the idea of our collections were things that people were forced to like learn about and forced to experience for themselves. We just kind of wanted to teeter on the edge of discomfort and thrill in the generalized audience experience. And so for me, like, that felt very influential. I had my Eyelet friends there with me to be able to help me with the run of show. Thank you, Jessi. Thank you, Marley. Shouts out.
It was very like, it was a beautiful, beautiful show. I like came to Jessi crying. Like,
Yeah.
Eyelet as an organization primarily focuses on diversity and sustainability. So what made you guys gravitate towards those being your core values?
It would be unfair to not mention Mesh's commitment to these things. It's something that we were pretty used to championing. And so it felt like a natural step for us to just like include that in this next organization. And also it's just so important.
So much of fashion comes from sub-communities and different cultures and people of all different identities. And so often that's kind of left out of the conversation. And so being very mindful of that and also wanting to genuinely like celebrate that. And then sustainability, most of us are like college students. Sewing is really expensive as a hobby. On top of like really caring genuinely about the planet and like the future ahead of us and how pollution, like fashion pollution, is one of the top 3 polluters on the planet. Also cheaper. To be sustainable, it's easy. We're in like a really beautiful area for it.
Like the whole Trash and Show was based in the idea of sustainability.
That was a really fun show.
It was a really fun show.
Yeah. And it felt very politically charged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I think was something that felt very liberating for both of us and also for all the designers who took that stage as like a platform for what they wanted to say in their frustration about either sustainability or even just like that being such a tense time politically. There were a lot of people who were wanting to speak about their values, and we were able to give them that platform, and they were able to express that via their art. And I think that was really special to us.
So what did the Seattle creative scene look like when you first started? How are you guys seeing its like evolution?
Definitely fewer indie shows. In our orbit, at least, it was like there's Mesh's like mid-year event, which was a gala, and now it's more of an expo, which I started. Like people who were established like designers were definitely having shows. I'm sure there's a lot that we didn't know about, especially in like the youth scene, aiming for like people right out of college, in college still. There definitely weren't as many happening as there are now. I think it was our senior year that stuff really did also start popping up a little bit more. I think it's some degree of necessity given like the economy, but I do think it's really cool to see how many artists are forming collectives.
But it's so beautiful. It's like community building, and like
Totally.
people crave community.
That was a big thing for Eyelet also, is like we've been okay about doing smaller events, and we're trying to do more of them right now especially, but like we don't want to just hold shows. It was important to us that like we show up to other people's shows, that like we're holding places where we can kind of just hang out. We had such a like really positive response to our first show, and our first ever like there's a clothing swap we held at the library, and that was really fun.
You guys should like start a third space. I mean, in a way you guys are a third space, but like have like a building.
You hit a trigger word. we've been trying. Down the line we want to have a workshop or a space where people can congregate and feel like a community. And I think places are doing that actually really well right now. Like Loft, shout out Loft. I think they're like teaching people. Yeah, they're doing some awesome stuff. They have a space and people are using it, and so clearly there's demand, but we wanted to get to the point where we were that space too.
What are you guys interested in doing in the future with Eyelet? How do you see it expanding?
I think we really want to get more experimental with our shows. I think we've been able to get really creative with the ways in which we host them. I don't know, like an experience for people.
And also, longer term, this is something that we haven't like publicly talked as much about, but it's not like a secret at all. Like we do have a timeline as an organization, just because we're all fresh out of college, and we know that within a couple of years people are going to start going to grad school. They're looking to move, focus more on our like day-to-day careers. So while we are absolutely planning ahead and we like aren't going to just shut down magically one day, we aren't expecting to be forever in a way that makes the moment that we have a little bit more precious to us. Because we know that this is the window where we get to do what we want to do.
That's so like sweet but also heartbreaking. I'm like, what do you mean it's gonna end?
I know.
Like, don't
Yeah.
say that. Like, don't. What?
It's really weird having so much of my social identity tied to this, because I have other stuff going on. but also at the same time, like, this is such a major way that I've been able to stay in communication with my like community. And all of that doesn't immediately go away, but it is going to be like, oh, this was a really big part of my communal life. It's just going to be an adjustment.
I'm like, why do I feel betrayed right now? But like but that also just makes like it's a very mature way of thinking about it. In regards to your identity, if something like Eyelet were to maybe go away or eventually close, right? Like how do you foresee that impacting your identity?
It's definitely going to be rough, but I think one thing that I admire a lot about all of the people that I work with is that we all have like pretty fully formed senses of self. And so through all of this, that's, community. Community doesn't go away just because you don't hang out at like a show every couple months. I'm really hoping that the connections that we're making right now and the idea that we have people we can lean on, that like I can borrow things from people. I know a guy. People have messaged me and been like, hey, do you know someone who can do this thing? And I'm like, well, I can't do that thing, but like here's a couple people to like reach out to. And it works. Someone borrowed my sword for a photo shoot. Shout out.
You have a sword?
My sword, yeah, I have Andoril from Lord of the Rings. 3 times it's been in a photo shoot. I'm like, yeah, like I'm not fucking using it.
Use my sword casually.
But also, like, that goes for so many things.
Yeah.
Like Design-a-thon, we saved so much money because people are just so nice. Like, shout out Camilla and the Prairie Underground team. They sponsored all of the fabrics that we used for that show, which was a huge cost that we had no idea how to cover. And also shout out Basecamp for discounting their rates because they're awesome. Like, we saved so much money on that show that that was the first show we were able to actually pay artists and all of that. We've always really wanted to do that. People are just awesome, and I think that would be definitely something that, wouldn't fade because you would have those connections. However, the opportunities to interact with them would, and that itself is a bit sad.
And there's also a degree of like passing it on though to other people who are still involved and like showing up to what they're doing. They're gonna keep going. Like they don't have a reason to stop just because we stop. It's also really cool to see all the people who have gone through Eyelet and then continue to model or design elsewhere, especially like models. Even yourself, like seeing you in other shows and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, this is so cool. I'm really happy to have like been any sort of part of that journey for other people. Yeah, there would be a degree of like identity reformation, focusing on other hobbies, becoming more comfortable with certain aspects of adult life. But I don't think that anything that we do with Eyelet will be permanently gone.
I would agree. I think it would be like hard to, adapt, kind of not necessarily losing a community, but like I said, losing those opportunities to interact with your community as frequently as you can. Like Jessi was saying, we just have to make room. We've hired on some team members who are like fucking fantastic. Like really taking so much initiative. We've had so many people who have been a part of our journey in such impactful ways, and I think it's just really cool to like be a part of their journey, but they've moved on in the same way that we will inevitably have to.
I'm starting my own creative things, like as in like this. It's so new and fresh to me that like if I could honestly do this as a job or for like the rest of my life, like I would. At least for me, like I see the impact that something like this could have, not just for myself, but like the broader community in the art spaces. Think about it like, oh, you eventually have to stop, It's like, for me, it's like a little bit like, why? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that statement?
A big thing for me is just that like I have like a lot of other things in my life that I also want to give space to. And coming out of this from Mesh, so I was part of the first generation of Mesh. I was a model and a set design team member for their first year. Then I was a board member for 2 years after that. And then immediately started Eyelet coming out of college. The making events thing for like 4 years at this point.
Wowzers.
Right? It kind of just adds up where it's like there is obviously so much more room to grow, but also it doesn't feel new to me, and like in that time I'm not engaging as much with my writing. Maybe casual, I like to do beadwork, but like just for fun. Like I don't tend to put that in my designs as much. It's not that I think that I'm like leaving fashion behind forever, but also I would like to be able to focus on those things at some point. My career, all of those things. Because again, I'm not particularly interested in going to the fashion industry. I kind of did make my hobby my career a little bit with this. Largely, I'd like to avoid that because I don't ever want my art to be something that I have to do. I want it to be something that I'm choosing to do every day.
I don't know. I think I feel like I do want to have a career in fashion. So I think for me, like, this was cool to be able to kind of like do it on my own terms. It's cool to be able to host these shows, to be able to create these spaces and do all the things that I want to do with the space without any restriction. Girl, we work so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, this shit's not that easy, actually.
It becomes a level of intentionality that is just so important. We might talk about this like on an Eyelet platform eventually, but something that we really care about is intentionality in space curation, and we really want there to be a feeling of safe in the spaces that we create. That's something that like we all see as like mandatory in an event. Like you need to make that space safe. You know what? Take the mic.
Take the mic.
Okay, my little soapbox right now for this is that I have a lot of empathy for everyone who is struggling to put on a show, especially people who've never done it before or who are working multiple jobs for it, etc. I was a communication major, and I work in a corporate environment. It's just like the lack of openness about certain things, and like I tend to over-explain. I want people to feel comfortable asking Eyelet why we made any decision that we made and us being able to answer that. And I want us to be able to respond to that email within a week. And I want us to respond to all of our DMs quickly. Things happen, things fall through the cracks, etc. But it's really so nice to work with people when you have that sense of respect between you. And it's not always intentional disrespect, but that's just like a really big factor when working with creatives, is because we're a little bit of a diva. We're all divas. I'm the left brain for Eyelet. And so that's also what I think about a lot, is like, how do I make this something that is both a good experience and also like effective?
I'm the right brain. Not to say that event planning is not creative. It is such a creative endeavor. I really care about how things look and how we reach our target audience. That's the biggest thing. Like, my background is psychology. So I'm constantly thinking about not only the experience, but also like how people are receiving us, and like how to curate the space so that people in it feel comfortable and also feel like empowered and excited. And I can say so proudly that every single time we've hosted a show, the people who are a part of it go away with such an amazing experience. Like, can say that through and through with the utmost confidence. I would say that that's a really important factor, at least for me, in the way that like I market and also the way that like I plan. And I think we carry those values with us all together.
At some point, at what point do I stop saving the scraps and just like throwing them away? Some of them are cool, but then it's like, I think everything's cool. I'm like, this could be useful. This could also be useful. This could also be useful. On this new episode of Hoarders. Well, you're gonna see. Do you guys want to give a little preamble to the clothes that we're gonna show?
I swear I've made pants before. I just don't have any of them with me.
I don't know. I've got like a piece that represents kind of like different phases, and then just two things from my newest collection that I'm very proud of.
So I tried to bring pieces from different collections that like span more of my stuff. However, one of the things is half of the coolness factor of my early collections was heavily augmented by my incredible chainmail artist, like design partner.
Incredible.
But that means I don't like have any of the chainmail because I didn't make the chainmail.
No, they make really cool. They have brought some
Take a minute.
They brought some super cool clothes that they will go in depth, not only in how it was made, what it means, but just general awesomeness. But please go watch that video because you get to see all the cool clothes.
It's so you, and I love that.
This is the first one. This is Jessi's. Okay, yes. This is Nico's. You can say hi. Their faces in the camera, so you can say hi. Hi. This is mine. Well,
wasn't that awesome?
Yes, thank you guys for coming and talking about your work. I hope that this was a fulfilling conversation.
Totally.
And I hope that you guys made these are really cool though. I really like.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys keep them forever. And yeah, now we just say bye to the camera. Bye bye. Go see their clothes.